American Tungsten and Antimony Ltd. Drilling has exceeded all expectations at the Antimony Canyon Project with thick, massive stibnite intersected. AT4 is off to a strong start with its maiden drilling program at the 100% owned Antimony Canyon Project in Utah. The first 3 diamond drill holes have intersected strong visible antimony mineralization, including multiple zones of massive to disseminated stibnite at the Emma historical working within the company's patented claims. Drilling is also confirming scale. Hole 1 intersected and interpreted approximately 42-meter altered and mineralized zone, including an estimated 19-meter main zone of massive to semi-massive stibnite on an approximate true thickness basis. This supports AT4's view that the system extends well beyond the shallow historical surface work, and importantly, there is more upside ahead. Hole 2 logged pervasive stibnite mineralization over roughly 63 meters before being stopped due to bogged rods, and AT4 plans to re-drill and extend the hole to test deeper continuity. Hole 3 has intersected massive stibnite along with real garn or pyrite while targeting the interpreted high-grade feeder structure. Assays for Hole 1 are expected by late January 2026, providing a key near-term catalyst.
I think the great thing is that we've intercepted this fantastic alteration system. It's got substantial width. At this point in this hole, at least, which is hole 1, it seems to be about 42 meters wide, and within that we've got mineralization sitting at several levels. So we have the main mineralized zone, which is about 19 meters thick, and then we have a higher zone, and we have a lower zone, which is sitting in the basal conglomerate. Now, the important thing about that is, and we've highlighted this previously, this was an unknown to us. We knew that there may be some mineralization above the main mineralized zone, but it's only through our field work that we identified that there is mineralization within the basal conglomerate, and in fact there's mineralization beneath the basal conglomerate. So we really are only at this stage, with this drill hole in particular, are targeting the main mineralized zone. We will push some deeper holes down to try and see what sits beneath this main mineralized zone, and who knows what we will find. But the key thing I want to point out is we have a 19-meter wide zone. The stibnite abundance is high, and when you consider that stibnite converts to about 80% roughly will convert to directly to antimony, well then you're starting to look at a potential high-grade system. Certainly the widths of this system are well beyond anything in the US at this point in time, and the company, as in American Antimony and Tungsten, is actually the beneficiary of 2 deposits which display exceptional width, one being Antimony Canyon, as we're looking at now, and the other is of course Wild Cattle Creek, where we also have a system that is up to 20 meters wide, and we're averaging 20 meters wide at a grade of just under 2%. So the company's sitting in a fantastic position. And though I will put a qualifier, one drill hole does not make a mine. This is a very, very good hole, a fantastic start. It is supported by the second hole and third hole at this point in time. Let's hope it continues. As we've moved to the northeast and we've started to more specifically target the feeder zone, we are starting to see orpiment and realga, which are 2 arsenic sulfides, the presence of those. The presence of both of them indicate an epithermal hydrothermal system, And they're also indicating that it's a relatively cool system. So as we have discussed previously, so it's a relatively cool system. And as we know with systems like this, the outermost zoning will be relatively clean antimony, which is what we have. As we are approaching a feeder system, you'll start to see these other minerals coming in. And then what that typically means is that these things are potentially sitting on a gold system at depth. So that's really our big picture view at this point in time.
Just talking about just general sort of strategic engagement and offtake agreements. We've been discussing offtakes again with quite a lot of international companies and the US government. We've had really good discussions with the US Department of War. In fact, I'm going to visit one of their facilities in February, and we've got during my trip in February, I'm also meeting with a lot of the agencies, DOW, Department of Energy, Department of Inland, Department of Commerce, Department of Agriculture, and just to get ourselves aligned. And these are all follow-up meetings. I've met with a lot of these people before, and we'll be meeting with a lot of the senior politicians, senators, and people from Congress as well while I'm there. And just coming back to the US policy and maybe talking a bit about critical minerals alignment, there's still a big push in the US to ensure that they have a sovereign supply of antimony and tungsten. Like I mentioned, there's a lot of interest in what we're doing from the US government specifically, and obviously a lot of investors and banks as well. During my visit in early February, one of the big meetings I'm going to be having is with the Department of War, as I mentioned earlier. And in terms of that, we're actually busy with some funding applications at the moment. Obviously, I can't say too much about those. And as soon as we have any news, again, I'll be feeding back to the market as well. An update on Wild Cattle Creek, and will the federal government actually help here? Just an update on Wild Cattle Creek. We have some work happening in the background in terms of looking at our strategy, going through our resource again, and working on some plans. Yes, we have started discussions with the federal government. We've also started discussions with the New South Wales government as well, and we have a good team out of Sydney helping us with that. And I'll probably be able to give some feedback at some time in the future on Wild Cattle Creek and what our intentions are there. But as John I mentioned earlier, we actually have two really world-class resources that are with really wide, thick ore bodies and high grade. I mean, we're pretty fortunate that one in Australia and one at ACP, and both really fantastic both really fantastic assets to have.
AT4's Antimony Canyon Project in Utah is a potential district-scale antimony system located in one of the most established antimony mining areas in the United States. The project hosts multiple historic workings and high-grade stibnite mineralization across Antimony Canyon, with strong evidence of broad continuity across the district. A 1949 U.S. Bureau of Mines estimate reported a historical, non-JORC compliant foreign resource. That historic estimate was largely based on earlier work and limited by shallow exploration techniques, leaving significant potential for modern drilling to test depth and continuity. More recently, exploration targets defined by AT4 have highlighted the project's scale upside across both claim types. For the broader district package, AT4 published an exploration target of approximately 12.8 to 15.6 million tons at 0.75% to 1.5% antimony, containing 96,000 to 234,000 tons of contained antimony metal. In addition, within the patented claims, AT4 defined a higher grade target of approximately 6.1 to 6.9 million tons at 1.4% to 2.3% antimony, containing 86,000 to 158,000 tons of contained antimony. Together, this positions Antimony Canyon as one of the most strategically significant antimony opportunities on American soil. The Achilles Antimony Project, located in northeast New South Wales, is one of Australia's more established antimony systems, positioned within a historical mining region with activity dating back to the late 1800s. The area hosts a network of old workings and antimony occurrences, with much of the district still underexplored by modern methods. The flagship area is Wild Cattle Creek, which hosts a published JORC-compliant mineral resource of 1.52 million tons at 1.97% antimony, containing approximately 29,900 tons of antimony metal. The major upside comes from a broader 6-kilometer mineralized corridor, with several additional targets and historic workings along strike that have seen limited modern drilling.